Martial arts is going to make your kid great.
You sure about that?
Parents bring their kids to martial arts class because they're hoping to give them confidence and maybe to help their character. But this is not an automatic thing. You know, we can be silly and just look at like a TV show like Cobra Kai or an old 70s Kung Fu movie. And there's always a bad character and they're skillful in martial arts. So even in our fiction, we can acknowledge it. You know, unfortunately, if you look at the news, occasionally you'll see where some martial arts instructor was way out of line and something really terrible happens. And that's really a tragedy. You can't just assume that because a person's gonna take martial arts class that they're just gonna automatically be great people. And you know, just to hammer this home yet again, I can't tell you how many times that people have gone to martial arts schools and assumed that because that person was a high-ranked martial artist, that they're probably a good person.
You sure about that?
Nope. I was a musician before this, and there's plenty of excellent musicians. Not nice people. Just because a person acquires a high level of skill doesn't make them automatically that, like across the board, that they're good. There are a lot of theories, kind of like there's a Miyamoto Musashi quote from his book, where he talks about if you can see the way specifically, often you can see the way generally. And what he means there is like if you understand how martial arts work, it can have insight into other things. For example, there's a famous story with that guy where he was trying to draw something and he drew it for a noble person in Japan and he didn't like it. He ripped it up and then, you know, that was not a smart move because that nobleman could have gotten rid of Musashi. And he redrew it. And when he redrew it, it was really wonderful. And then they asked, well, what was different? And he said, the first time I drew it like an artist. The second time I drew it like a swordsman. And I'm a swordsman. I'm not an artist. And so however his brain saw the world, if he approached it the way he approached his sword work, he did great. And so that's true. So it is possible for that to happen. But it's not automatic. And that still doesn't make you a good person. It's about skill acquisition. So, okay, so then what does make someone a better person potentially in a martial arts school? It comes back first to, well, what do you value as a parent? What is it that's important to you? Is it that they are successful? Because if it's just that they're successful, it could be very Machiavellian. They could be successful, but not at the cost of their integrity. And so then now you're setting up these boundaries. Like, yeah, this is important, but not more than this. And it's important to be a good martial artist, but not at the cost of your soul. You know, I think these are good trades. And so having that kind of hierarchy to what's important. And so it's on the parents to find not just, oh, did they teach this martial art or that martial art, but also, what's this person like? And that's part of my motivation for doing this is because there's tons of Taekwondo places. There's tons of Jiu-Jitsu places. But if you get to know who I am and you agree with me about the things I'm talking about, then that's going to make it easier for, I guess to use the parlance of our time here, for my tribe to find me or vice versa, however you want to look at it. So the people who are resonating with what I'm saying, that hopefully they'll find this place and say, hey, that's a guy I want on my team to help with my kid. Because that's really what it is. You're the leader and we're here to, as I like to say to the kids, I'm here to kind of play tambourine for your folks and their band. So, you know, it's an important job, and I got to play tambourine sincerely, but, you know, make sure that you're finding a place that cares about integrity, that cares about that the kids are looking out for each other, that they are looking out for their health, looking out for their betterment. You know, some people like a more competitive environment. I think that's great. Some people aren't wired for all that. I think that's great too. You just have to figure out what's important to you and make sure that it gets conveyed through the school and treat the martial arts school as a tool for you to help parent from a new angle. A martial arts school can help them find a process by which to learn a thing, pressure test it, and then assess the result and then get that process going. And as they acquire more physical capacity, they're going to naturally become more confident. And then they're going to start asking questions about themselves. Well, if I can do that, what else can I do? And then some of that Musashi stuff comes into play. Well, if I see the way here, where else does that show up? And then, some first principle things start to connect, and they can start doing some pretty interesting stuff. But at the core of it, really at the core of it, has to be values and I guess a sort of a ethical or moral, depending on how you want to look at it, center to what it is that you're trying to teach your son or daughter, and then making sure you plug them in with the right people to get them there. I was pretty lucky. My folks were able to do that, and I had some really wonderful music and martial arts instructors at a young age that I feel like got me going in the right direction. And in the course of my martial arts journey, I had to deal with some instructors that weren't so great, but I was able to discern and figure out, okay, this person, I can't go any further with them. We're going to go over here now. And then I could navigate and steer it. And if I hadn't been given those things, I would have gotten sucked into some martial arts groups that were kind of awful and a little scary, frankly. I think keep that in mind, Mom and Dad. And we're filming this on Mother's Day, so I'll just say Happy Mother's Day. Probably won't go out Mother's Day, but that's okay. At any rate, so this is what we need to keep in mind with the martial arts instructors, picking the right one, making sure to stay connected, and making sure to steer them in the right direction as they acquire skill and as they maybe get a couple trophies or have some losses, that whole thing. Make sure to keep them straight when we're raising a warrior.